Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel today. Today's video is called Major Cruise Ship News. Future cruise credits could be a nightmare for the cruise lines. A lot of people don't talk about this as a possible financial problem because the thinking is, well, gosh, if a whole bunch of people have future cruise credits, they're going to go on those ships and they're going to spend all kinds of money and it's going to be great for the cruise lines. There's a big problem. Between March of this year, when they canceled cruises, until they restart cruising, which might not be until next March, and even when they do restart, it'll be 10-20% of the fleet only for several months as they slowly bring on ships. There could well be over 15 million people out there with cruise credits that are going to want to go on these cruise ships when they start sailing again. The first problem the cruise lines are going to have is they will not have enough ships in the water with enough cabin space to handle all the requests. The second problem they're going to have is as they build up their available cabin inventory, the issue is going to be for the cruise lines, how many of the cabins are going to be allowed to be booked by the folks who have cruise credits versus how many people are phoning up and asking to buy a cruise with fresh cash. Because by the time these cruise lines start sailing again, they'll have burned through more cash, including future cruise credit money. And this could be a major problem. If they don't start sailing until next March in 2021, that is an additional 6 months from now. That's another $6 billion out the cash register of these cruise lines. Their bank accounts will be drained by another $6 billion. Then starting with 10 to 20% of the fleet and slowly going up to 100% over, say, a year, it'll probably take them 6 to 8 months before they actually break even. So they're still going to be draining cash. That could be another $4 billion. And then when they are, during that whole time frame that they are sailing, they are spending all kinds of money on the entire cruise that they've hired back, all of their fuel that they're now burning to move these ships. They're feeding all the people that have prepaid for their cruises 2 years ago no fresh cash. The cruise lines have been giving away 25% additional credit bonuses for just keeping cash with them. So if you've given them $2,000, they might have given you a $500 bonus credit to use for anything you want. Well, you're going to use that $500 for onboard spending. So the first $500 of alcohol you have or any other expenses on the ship, you're going to use up your credit. The cruise lines have no fresh cash coming in the front door for the first probably 3 to 6 months that they're sailing again. And I'm assuming, just throwing it out there, that maybe next March they can start. That would tell me by next year, September, a year from now, 2021, by that point in time, they're finally able to bring in fresh cash from cruisers who don't have cruise credits anymore. How many billions of dollars are they going to burn up between now and then? Do they have enough? Will the shares be anywhere near where they are now in price? As cruise line shares lately have been buoyed and have been moved up in anticipation of a vaccine and faster testing results, and that cruise lines have got new protocols in place, and the hope is that the CDC and the CLIA and all these other organizations will come to an agreement to allow cruise ships and passengers to start cruising again. But without international airports opening up, all the routes opening up, the airlines and the governments of the world allowing passengers to travel through their countries, nothing's going to happen with the cruise lines. And I am having doubts that between now and March 2021, even that is possible. We just heard this week that Australia, right here, Sydney, they've canceled cruising and international travel of all kinds until December of this year again. They've just extended another 3 months. Who's to say if Australia will be ready at any time in early 2021 for travel, let alone cruise ship visitations. The occupancy level of cruise ships going forward, I heard today that the Disney folks are talking to the Port Authority people in Galveston, Texas. And they've indicated to the folks in Galveston that they think there might be 70% occupancy on Disney ships next year when they restart cruising. That's optimistic because in the case of Disney, just so you folks know, less than half of all the cabins available on a Disney cruise ship are balcony cabins. That still would mean perhaps 20% of the passengers on board a Disney cruise would be inside passengers without fresh air coming in from the outside. They'd be relying on the ventilation systems only. I don't know if that's going to happen. I really suspect that cruise lines are going to be restricted to balcony cabins only for the first year of reoperation from CDC guidelines. And even then, 15% of those cabins might be held back by the CDC for possible COVID cases. People who test positive on cruise ships will be quarantined inside balcony cabins, and so they can't be pre-sold. This is a big dilemma because if 15 million people have future cruise credits and cruise ships are restricted to maybe a 50% occupancy level going forward, all the ships in the world, we used to have 380 plus of them. There'll only be 360 of them when cruising restarts by next year. And at half capacity, we're talking about a total capacity available on an annual basis of maybe 13 million passengers rather than 30 million passengers that were expected in 2020. So if in 2021, 2022, the cruise lines can only handle 13 million people total, 15 million have future cruise credits, it might take them 3 years to be able to use up their cruise credits. That would allow cruise lines to bring in 6 to 7 or 8 million paying passengers with fresh cash starting in 2021, 22, and 23. With that little of an amount coming to the cruise lines, these outfits are not going to bring enough fresh cash in to pay the operating expenses. They're still going to bleed money. On the books, it looks like they're breaking even or making money because the gross production, the gross cruise numbers are great. They're at full occupancy. They're at 50% occupancy. Their ships are maxed out. But the bottom line is, compared to 2019, they're going to be bringing in, at best, half the amount of money they used to bring in. And if half of the money they're bringing in is actually future cruise credits, in other words, it's money they've already got, they really have got themselves a cash flow problem. They're down to 25% of the cash flow that they used to have in 2019. Shareholders of these cruise lines, I don't know if they realize that. I don't know if they get it. The auditors out there, the accountants out there, the people who can really add up the money, they're not talking. Analysts are not telling investors what the real deal is going forward with these cruise line shares. And so the cruise lines have got themselves a nightmare scenario coming up, and it isn't a 3-month issue. This is a 3-year or longer problem that we might be seeing the cruise lines deal with, and we'll have to see if this causes casualties. In the meantime, folks, we'll stay on these stories. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, giving my videos thumbs ups. Stay safe out there, and we'll keep you posted on what's happening. This is Bruce with Traveling with Bruce. Bye for now.